Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make a cute color swatching book. So I have this small little sketchbook here and I've kind of just used it to swatch everything that I have. So I have my gouache paints and I have my Posca markers in it, but I've kind of been discouraged from using it because I have all my swatches in here. I have all these blank pages in it that I've just been afraid to use because I don't want to smear any of the paint. Like I don't want to have to go all the way to the front where I have all my swatches and then have to go to the back and risk smearing any of the paint. So I've decided to come up with a new system on how to fix that. And that would lead me to make these little color swatches that go on these little rings. I don't know, I thought they were cute, so I thought I would share it with all of you. To start off, I used this mixed media paper and I just kind of cut the paper to be 2 by 1 inches. So I'm just making like these little small rectangles. And I decided to cut them using the self-healing mat and I cut them with a razor. You can use scissors. This is just my preferred method of cutting anything. And yeah, that's kind of just it. This is the very beginning process. You can make them bigger than this if you'd like, but this is just kind of the size that I felt was right for the size ring that I have. But if you have a bigger ring, feel free to make them any size that you'd like. Make them a little bigger if you feel comfortable with that. When you're done, you'll be left with all of these little rectangles. They kind of have these sharp edges, which I personally don't like. So I found this corner cutter that we had in our garage. And this one actually has 3 different types of corners that it'll cut. So it'll have a wide rounded corner, a medium rounded corner, and a small rounded corner. Now, I personally liked this medium rounded corner, so I went ahead and started cutting that one. Now, I tend to be a hazard to myself. If I didn't do this, I would be cutting myself and poking myself with these corners all day long. And that's just the kind of person I am. This isn't a necessary step. You don't have to do this at all. You could actually even do this with scissors if you really wanted to do it, if you don't have a corner cutter just like I do. But it's just something that I like. It makes the paper look nice and makes it look more professional, at least to me. But what I really like is that at the bottom of this tool, it has a little cover, so it keeps all of these corner cut pieces from getting all over your desk and making a mess everywhere. So when you're done cutting, you just take off this little bottom part and you dump them in the trash or the recycling bin, and that's super convenient. I actually sped through this process because it was just taking a while, and the tool was a bit difficult to push sometimes, so I had to put it down on the table. But yeah, once you're done, you have these very nicely rounded edges that you will have less likely time cutting your fingers on. And now to find a way to get these on these little hooks, on these little rings. So I have like a single hole punch. I know you're more likely to see the ones that have like the 3-hole punch on it. But this one is just a singular hole punch, which makes my job much easier. I don't have to pull out the the big tool that we have. But you can see me here just kind of like trying to figure out how far I want this hole to be. And I was initially going to cut most of this out, but I think it's important that you see the process of what goes down in someone's head as they're making these things, especially for someone who's making it for the first time. This is just kind of like me figuring out exactly how I want it to look, and it's an important part of the process. I think more people should get accustomed to seeing artists, like the real time it takes to figuring something out and how you want it to work. I know that's important, and I just wanted to share that part of the process with you. But here I am, like very quickly, like going through all of it. I changed my mind a little bit and I decided to make the hole a little bit higher to the top instead of lower down as you saw in the very first one that I made. But this was the most satisfying part to me. I really like making all of these little holes in it and making them very close to perfect as I could because I'm a perfectionist, unfortunately. But now that they're on the ring, they look really nice and you can easily spread them out. So you can see your inks, your paints, pencils, whatever you choose to put on them. Now, I could have left them all just like this, but I want to make sure that these last a good while because they're going to be exposed, they're going to be used a lot. Me just kind of moving around, and I want to protect them from ripping off. So I needed to figure out how I was going to make them last as long as possible without damaging them. So I have these grommets. I found these little heart and a couple flower ones, and I thought they were really cute. So I realized that they would fit the hole punch perfectly, and that it it would look cute. That's really all I wanted. I wanted them to look cute and last as long as possible. So you can see here, like they go perfectly around the little ring, and they fit perfectly in the little hole, and I just have to attach them. Here I have my little test paper again, and so I'm going to just go ahead and attach the two. Now I have this tool, I don't know what it's called. It's for attaching grommets to paper. If I find out what it's called, I put it on the screen for you guys. But essentially just kind of like put it in there, and then you squeeze it closed like pliers. And I don't know. I this first one was not good. I'll tell you that it was not good. You'll see here in a second after I after I struggle to close this and I open it back up. The front seems fine, but the back is it's not great. I'll tell you that. The back just looks like it was crushed, like very badly crushed. But this is just the test one, so it's just to see if it'll work, which it does. It works, which is great. It's just the back is not great. It's fine. That's just why we have tests. This is why we have test runs. Anyways, I decided to go back in on the same piece of paper, make another hole punch, and test out another grommet on it. Which this one, it did look significantly better. I couldn't tell you what I did, but you can see me contemplating what I'm gonna do next, which I think I've got it, but I end up going back and using the little heart grommets again. I was initially going to grab one of the flower grommets, but I thought they were too cute. But while I'm doing this, I'm realizing that these little cube things at the end of the tool might actually be able to move. So I'm just kind of staring at those for a minute. Which again is why I think it's important to show the process, because you can really see in time that how I'm figuring these things out. Again, because this is the first time I've ever used a grommet. And I don't know, it was kind of fun. What I didn't like about using the grommets is that because these ones are painted, because you're essentially crushing them, so when you do so, like you crush the paint, so it kind of chips away, which I don't like, but the metal will stay intact. But here you can see how my first attempt, which is that light pink, is super crushed, but the red one looks significantly better than the first one. And that's just what I'm going for. Something that works. It doesn't have to look fantastic. It just has to be functional and just work for what I need it to do. Now to figure out what exactly you're going to put on your piece of paper. So I wanted to use my gouache paints because I really want to encourage myself to paint more this year. I can probably count the number of times I've painted on one hand, which isn't great. I do like painting and I really like these colors. I just haven't gotten around to it. So I'm hoping that if I can see them every day and my little palette is easily accessible, I'll finally do it. Now, I don't have anything in particular that I use to clean my paintbrushes, so I have this little jar that I'm going to use. And I have these little, these little plastic bits that go at the bottom of anything. they just stick to the bottom and just make cleaning your paintbrushes much easier every time you dip them into the water. You can see me using a knife to push it down in there. Please don't do what I did. But as you can see, it sticks pretty well, which is great. You don't want it to be moving around or float up to the top while you're trying to clean your paintbrush. That's not going to work out for you. Trust me. It definitely did float to the top while I was doing this because I didn't put it in there right. Now to the fun part, which is painting. This is my favorite part of getting anything art related. Is I like to test out all the colors. And so you see me here just like painting on all the tiny little bits of paper. So I have areas where I have thick layers of paint and areas where I have thinned it out more with the water. This was really fun. It was very relaxing. 10 out of 10 activity, would recommend to anyone. I know I used my paints, but you could do this with anything. You could use your coloring pencils, you could use your alcohol markers, you could do your paint markers. I actually want to do another video relatively soon where I do one with all of my alcohol markers. I have a lot of those, so I think it would be really fun to make one where I have my like 50 plus alcohol markers because they're just fun. They're just fun things to do, and you can get more layers on those. If you don't know, alcohol markers, they tend to darken the more layers you put on, so that'll be another fun activity for me to do later on. I probably won't do a long video for that one. I'll probably do a short for it instead, but let me know if you're interested in seeing something like that. I do really like making these. And voila, they're all done. This one is actually my favorite color, this olive green. I'll label them all here in a minute, but I just wanted to do like a little like quick slide, little swipes through all the colors that I have. The lamplight doesn't do it justice. They look significantly better in daylight, but I'll just have to make do for now. But now that they're all painted and dry, I can begin labeling them now. I do recommend that you label all of your things, you make sure that you write them down, keep track of what you have and what you don't, only so that you're not buying duplicates of the same things. And not that there's anything wrong with having duplicates. I mean, some people like to have duplicates of the same color, especially if it's a color that they use pretty frequently. Like, let's say you use the color yellow a lot in your artwork. They'll probably have duplicates of the same color or of multiple shades because you just enjoy that color and you use it pretty frequently. Labeling also helps you keep track of what kind of paints you're using at the time. Let's say you have maybe some shades that are similar in color, but you accidentally pick up the wrong one and just start painting with it, and it doesn't end up working out with the type of color palette that you're trying to use. Like, oh no, like I used this kind of yellow, but I actually wanted to use this one. It's just nice to document it. Now that our beautiful color swatches are done, we can start adding the grommets to our little pieces of paper. Now, again, you don't have to have grommets. You don't have to attach them. This is just an extra step that I took because I thought it was cute. Like I saw the little hearts in the drawer and I thought, you know what? I want that. I want that on these tiny little pieces of paper. But it's just kind of like for reinforcement. I just want to make sure that they have a lower risk of being ripped off, by accident. And the fact that they still fit over the ring just like that, and there's really no risk. Sorry, I did get a little excited this part. I did shake it around a bit. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start adding them to the rest of these. But before I do, I want to quickly show like just a dramatic version of what could possibly happen, if you don't have the grommet. So here I have another little test paper. I'm just going to kind of like pull it from a couple different angles just so you can see, just over time they could get a little beat up, which isn't a bad thing, it doesn't have to last forever, but it can get a little dinged up if you don't have the grommets. But again, I would like to reiterate that you do not need them. They're just an extra step that I took because I thought they looked cute and would give them a little extra personality. So here I am very quickly just putting these grommets on. You know, I know they're kind of silly, but I like my things to be silly. That's just kind of who I am. I like to give things a little bit more personality. And doing this is just one of the very few ways that I like to do that. I personally really like the little flower ones. I wish we had a lot more of those, but I really didn't want to go out and buy things. I just kind of wanted to use what we had available. And so what we had available were these little heart ones and a couple of the flower ones, but the little flower ones were certainly my favorite. And I don't know, maybe if I see them at the store next time, I'll get a few of those, but because they were really cute. But here I am just attaching them to this little ring, and voila! Here's the final product. As you can see, they make a nice little loading circle, but I really did like looking at all of them on this ring. Having all of them on this one was actually, it was a little difficult to get on there. The grommets did take up more space than they would have without it. So here I am separating the two on two different grommets. So I put, more primary colors on one. So I have, red through purple. And on the other one, I have some more obscure colors like the olive green, the burnt sienna, those kind of colors I had on the other one. But yeah, maybe if I have like a bigger ring, I could fit all of them on there. But I don't know. I kind of like where it's at right now. I think they're very pretty. I would highly recommend doing this, if you just like to organize your things and just have them in a way like this instead of on a singular piece of paper. But here I am shaking them again. I really did like the way that they sounded with the metal clanking up against the ring. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Okay, bye! Before I finish off the video, I want to share the people who inspired this. So I'll put them right here. I found them on Instagram. I just kind of came across their video by accident and I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I want to do that too. So I did it. But I wanted to share it with you guys so that, I know not all of us want to spend a lot of money right now, so you don't really have the money or opportunity to go out and buy those things. But I don't know, I just wanted to share how you could make something like that from home. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I might do another video pretty soon about with my Copic markers and probably do the same thing, but not with the grommets. It definitely took up a lot of space, but live and learn. That's just kind of how things are. As an artist, you just you make things up as you go along. You see what works, you see what doesn't, and you have fun with it. But I hope you have fun making your own things out there, and yeah, be kind out there.